hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your Grand Slam tennis records, because Novak Djokovic is coming for all of it. Today on Coffee Break Tennis, Novak Djokovic is starting to look like his best version of himself all over again, and he's closing in on Roger Federer's big titles records. What does that mean? We'll talk about that. Also, right here in my hand, I hold some news, I hold the show notes, and I have the draw from Roma. We'll look that draw up, down, left, and right. Plus, le plus. Rafa explains why punk kid teenagers don't win majors anymore. Also, we'll talk about the latest babyface punk kid teenager to come and make waves in big-time ATP tennis matches. We'll look at Roger Federer's what some people are calling Roger Federer's hideous French Open outfit from Uniqlo. It's debatable. I would wear it. All that and a very special thank you coming up in just a moment on today's episode of Coffee Break Tennis. Welcome to Coffee Break Tennis, the fastest growing tennis talk show in the world and the location of the smartest, highest tennis IQ tennis fans in the world. It's quite a place to be. I'm your humble GOAT host, Matt Bradshaw. Mr. GOAT, the talking tennis cat, is scurrying around on the ground. He said, don't even bother putting up the GOAT boat. I'm not coming into work today.
Man, that sucks! Why?
Novak Djokovic is back. There's no denying it. I have a comment here for you. This is a telling comment. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Djokovic is at his very best. But he's close enough to where he's a threat. He could potentially win the French Open. It could happen. From Minaj, Coffee Break 10s. This is from the Twitters, at Coffee Break 10s, TENS, like the number 10. You can follow us at Twitter using that word, whatever it is, handle, Twitter name thing. You didn't pick Djoker Nole for Wimbledon, Australian Open, or even the U.S. Open until the last match. You're so right about so many things. Well, thank you. Why are you always messing up your analysis only and only with Novak? Just rethink it. You'll be the best on YouTube. Thanks for that vote of confidence, Minaj. I have to admit something. I think when Djoker hit his first big slump, 2016, 2017, no one really expected it. I don't want to say I expected it, but I definitely didn't think Djoker was going to keep winning everything. I knew that sooner or later, Roger and Rafa would start beating him in majors. I knew that some young guns coming up would have their shots. I didn't think Djoker was going to win everything and hit, the Grand Slam, the calendar year Grand Slam, like a lot of people at the time were predicting. But I also didn't think the slump would come. And when the slump did come, I think because this is where any kind of Fed head bias might actually creep into my predictions analysis with tennis. I think I wanted Federer's Grand Slam record to be preserved so badly that I kind of convinced myself that Djokovic's slump was going to be very long and it would take him, and I never fully believed that, but it was like a hope I had. And after we saw the slump last so long and the resurgence of Roger and Rafa 2017, Roger winning another major in 2018 last year, and then Djoker winning a few in a row, soon as this slump hit again, I think my little bit of Fed head bias kicked in where I want Roger's record to be safe so badly that I kind of convinced myself that the slump was going to be worse than what it actually is. So, thanks for pointing that out, Minaj. Just wanted to put that out there. Comment below what you think about that interesting theory of mine. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it seems to make a lot of sense to me. So with that said, I got to point out the Tsitsipas match. Djoker looked great. I know in the podcast, I started recording literally right after Stefanos drops his racket and wins the match over Rafa. So I was pretty pumped up for Stefanos. I'd just seen him put in an amazing performance. And, I was smart enough to at least say, hey, be warned, Djokovic is looking a lot better than he has on clay this year. This is the best he's looked on clay for sure. Probably the best he's looked since the Australian Open at the beginning of the year in January. At least I said that, but I also said, Tsitsipas is the man of destiny right now. But if you're being smart, what you got to say is if you look at the numbers of any players beating big three members, Roger, Rafa, Djoker, back to back, it just never happens. So I think that alone should have given us a big warning that, hey, it's pretty unlikely Tsitsipas will beat Rafa and then Djoker, just like it was very unlikely for Tsitsipas to beat Federer at the Australian Open and then beat Rafa and then beat Djoker. I remember even saying at the time, like, what if that happened? That would blow the whole tennis world up. That would shake everything up. Like, that would be the craziest thing we've ever seen happen. Of course, the craziest thing we've ever seen happen did not happen, as is pretty typical. We also got to factor in that the Rafa match had to have taken a lot out of Tsitsipas. I had said when we did our Madrid draw show that I hope Tsitsipas is getting enough sleep, because after all the matches he's played this year, he's played more matches than anyone now. He's surpassed his enemy, Danny Medvedev. He won in Estoril, so all those matches back to back to back, then going to Madrid, winning all those matches all the way to the final. His ranking is shooting up. Sasha Zverev is in danger of Tsitsipas overtaking him pretty soon in the rankings. Tsitsipas has a real shot to be top 5 in the world. I'll pop up those new updated rankings for you. Dominic Thiem not making the final after his loss to Djokovic kind of protects Roger with a buffer. Same with Sasha Zverev not getting close to defending his title. That gives Roger a nice buffer at number 3 in the world, where now no one is within striking distance of him quite yet. Of course, that can change, but Roger's in Rome. Roger's playing the French Open. Doesn't have to accumulate a whole lot of points to lock himself into number 3 for good. Pretty unlikely he takes number 2 away from Rafa, but barring some kind of disaster, Rafa does have 3,000 points to defend in the next 2 tournaments. So who knows what will happen there. But back to Djokovic. We got to credit Djokovic. I had a tweet I was going to use on the show today, but I forgot to get it. But it was basically saying, Matt, Djokovic, he got a walkover from Cilic, and Federer basically wore down Dominic Thiem, which there's probably some truth to that, sure. But again, Djokovic played very well against Dominic Thiem. And Tsitsipas, he sucks, whatever. I can't remember what the comment said, the tweet said. Tsitsipas still played pretty well in the final. Obviously could have played better. Looked like he was a little worn down from all the tennis, and it must have taken a lot out of him physically and especially mentally to close out Rafa with everyone in that stadium wanting Rafa to come back and beat Tsitsipas. That's something that would bother Djokovic even when he was younger. Tsitsipas, not fazed by it, he seemed to enjoy it and seemed to be enjoying himself out there. And, the crowd, I think they like Tsitsipas. He's pretty exciting. So Djokovic, sure, maybe it was a little easier because of that, but Djokovic, like I said, all I needed to see was that Jeremy Chardy match. Djokovic is looking a lot more like himself again. Not going to say he's going to win the French Open, but if he keeps getting better and more comfortable on clay, he's got a real shot, and Roger and Rafa might need to get together and figure out what the heck they can do to stop Djokovic from getting closer to their GOAT records. He's got 15. He's only 2 away from Rafa. Roger and Rafa, they do not want to see Djokovic win another French Open. Plus, Roger only has 1. Djoker only has 1. Sure, Roger wouldn't mind if the record book closes with them both only having 1, or maybe with Roger having 2 and Djoker having 1. Roger might like that even better. So the big title thing, let's last thing on Djokovic, then we'll move on. We'll get to the draw. And a special thank you before that. Novak Djokovic closing in on Roger Federer's big titles record. This is from ATPTour.com. World number 1, Novak Djokovic, made history on Sunday when he won the Madrid Open, tying Rafa Nadal's record 33 ATP Masters 1000 titles. They both have 33 Masters 1000 titles right now. Roger has 28. No one in history has had 20 before Roger, Rafa, Djoker. Maybe some greats from before Masters tournaments were a thing. Not going to say in all of tennis history. There's probably some kind of equivalent. But since we've been calling these things Masters, no one's had it. Agassi was 17, Sampras with only 11, Andy Murray with 14. Everyone else, single digits on this list. So, Djoker 5 ahead of Roger, but this is the way they do it. Big titles are majors and Masters and ATP World Tour Finals or Nito Suito ATP Benito Finals. Roger Federer with 6 Nito Finals. Put that on the screen for you so you can see for yourself the whole list. Novak 5, so Roger's 1 ahead. But, Novak's 5 ahead, Rafa's 5 ahead. They're tied at 33 from Roger's 28. Who cares? What matters the most? We all know it. 20 Grand Slams to Novak's 15, Rafa's 17. But if you add it all up, which is what they do at the ATP when they talk about the big titles records, I mean, they are big titles, but they're so much smaller than the majors. Like, the points doesn't do it justice. 1,000 points. Is winning Miami Masters really half as good as winning Wimbledon? No way. I would say winning the Miami Masters is 5%. Please comment below. I'm curious to hear that. Well, in percent, how much of an achievement is any of these Masters? Let's go with the ATP World Tour Finals, the Nitto ATP Finals. In percentage-wise, how does it compare to a major? Wimbledon, for any of them. I'll use Wimbledon because obviously that's the one that's, the players, you would think all the players would want to win Wimbledon more than any other major. Maybe an Aussie would rather win the Aussie Open. Maybe an American. I don't think. I think Americans would rather win the Wimbledon. Maybe a French player would rather win the French Open. I could see that. That'd be pretty cool. Although a lot of those French players probably would rather win Wimbledon. So, it doesn't really compare there. All that matters is that. But Djokovic looking good enough right now to where he's got a shot. Let's look at this draw. Oh, and before we get to the draw, I am blown away and very grateful, very thankful that we already have, I think, 8 people signed up for the Patreon only a few days after I started this thing. Coffee Break Tennis, I'm working real hard to grow this thing. I was very against Patreon for the first couple years. We're about to hit 2 years of Coffee Break Tennis. Next month, I think, is 2 years of the show. Wow. So for the majority of the first 2 years of CBT, I've been very against Patreon, but after putting in, I don't know, how many videos have I done? Like more than 100. My average video, all the work involved, not counting the time I spend reading and watching tennis, so I actually know what I'm talking about. 4 or 5 hours of work. Some of the videos I've done, like the ones with the music videos where I would write an original song and like cut it so there would be words on the screen and stuff. Some of those videos literally took me like 18 to 20 hours from start to finish from all the work I did. So yeah, after putting in a couple thousand hours of work on CBT, Patreon started sounding like a pretty sweet thing. So hey, if you want to help Coffee Break Tennis be a real thing, you want to see more shows, you want to see me pump out more of these videos, more podcasts, build the website, which is a really big goal of mine. I really want to put together a great tennis news website. I just know I don't have the time to do it right now. As soon as I'm able to do that, I will. And one of the things that'll help me get there while I'll have more free time available is go to the patreon.com/Coffee Break Tennis. The link is in the description below. And listen to these names. These are our Patreon patron saints of Coffee Break Tennis. Brad, Edward, Gene, John, Kalon, comment below if I said it right, or remain anonymous. Lighter Thief, the Lighter Thief. Lighter Thief always comments. Mariska, I think you guys know who I'm talking about with Mariska, Mary JK. And I believe this is a Japanese name. I'm not sure, and I'm definitely going to say it wrong. If you want, please send me a Patreon message or comment below and correct me, but I believe it's Yamui. I did my best. I probably sound like a big idiot trying to say it. Anyways, thank you so much. You are making Coffee Break Tennis possible, and if you're someone out there who is able to help, please do click the link down below for our Patreon and help us grow the show and help me quit my part-time jobs and make this my full-time job. All right, let's look at this draw. Put it on the screen. So Shapo and Djokovic, we will get to see them play again. When was the last time they played? Obviously, they played at the Australian Open. I'm trying to think. Did they play again since the Australian Open? My biggest memory of Djokovic and Shapo will always be that Australian Open match where Shapo managed to win a set, which kind of gives you the idea that, Djokovic, remember how Djokovic didn't look like his very best through that run? And then the way he beat Nadal, it was like, wow, this is peak Joker. Shapo getting that set and spraying so many unforced errors made you feel like maybe Shapo could have beat Djokovic at the Aussie Open, possible. And just feeling very, frustrated with him. Like, dude, how can you be so sloppy, I guess, with all the unforced errors and just shot selection at times. But, this is the thing with Shapo. Live by the sword, die by the sword kind of guy. When he's really got it working, like in that match I saw him beat Tsitsipas in Miami, it is incredible to see Shapo's free-flowing, beautiful game. The one-handed backhand looks great. Seeing him come to the net, he's starting to get better. He wants to play more like Federer. I remember him saying that. He wishes he had a volley like Federer. He's trying. He's getting better at it. He had a nice win over Pablo Carrera Busta. That's right, Pablo Carrera Busta. He had points to defend here. His ranking is plummeting. And I can't say his name the same way until he gets that back up. So now it's Pablo Carrera Busta. It's melting. I'm sad for personal friend PCB. So Shapo will get Djoker, winner, Kohlschreiber or Cecchinato. Cecchinato struggled a little with Demon Hour, but closed it out convincingly. Danny Medvedev and Nick Kyrgios, is that tomorrow or that might be a Wednesday match? Either way, I'm very curious to see that match. I think that is tomorrow. Another interesting thing in this draw is we're seeing some next-gen people clash early. Not a lot, but a couple examples that are kind of outrageous to me. So we'll see that. Casper Ruud beat a dirty Dan Evans, who bageled Casper Ruud, then ultimately lost in 3 sets. It's always a hard feeling when you bagel your opponent, but you still lose. It's kind of like if you watch Game of Thrones. I guess this is a minor spoiler, so hey, mute it, and I'll put my hand up when I'm done. If you haven't watched, this isn't the recent one. This is like 3 episodes ago in Game of Thrones. The big battle with the Ice King, the White Walkers, whatever they're called. I watched the show, but I don't remember all the names exactly. I think it's White Walkers. The big battle, it's like they're absolutely crushing the humans at Winterfell. They're destroying them. And then at the very end, the little girl with the skinny sword, what's her name? Arya, I think. Then she kills the White Walker. It's kind of like that. You're just crushing the opponent, completely demoralizing them, making it look like it's the end of the human race with your big 6-0, right? We could say in that episode a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, the zombie people in Game of Thrones, they basically were bageling. They're like double bageling in a major. And then Arya, 3 sets on the rip, 1 little stab into the ice monster guy. All right, hand up. You can come back if you're worried about spoilers. It's a wonderful show. Don't comment below a spoiler because I haven't seen the episode from yesterday. I'll probably watch it tonight after I edit this video. You know what? I probably won't because it's going to be like midnight when this video goes up. So Rude Boy will get Medvedev or Kyrgios. Medvedev should be well rested enough after losing. That's the benefit of losing early when you've been playing a lot. He lost early in Madrid, so he gets to take a break and kind of recuperate. So look for Medvedev to be playing well. Nick Kyrgios doesn't like clay. Seemed to not care in his last match, and I guess it was Madrid. Yeah, he was early up in Madrid. Watch him maybe get up for this match. He might be like, oh, Medvedev, you're the hot shot next gen guy who had won the most matches before Tsitsipas took that away from you. I'm going to show you that I can beat any next-gen star. No problems. Kyrgios, there might be a crazy match. Keep your eye on that tomorrow. Del Potro will play David Goffin or Stanislav the Manislav Wawrinka. Juan Martín Del Potro. Del Potro will have a shot at Djoker, maybe. He can get to him again, like last in Madrid. Will he? Is he ready? Didn't look that bad, actually. Might be able to do it. Not super fun to play Superstan in the first match, but that might happen because David Goffin's been kind of trending down ever since that injury where his ball came off his racket and hit him in the eye when Grigor was still winning stuff and had a respectable ranking. Talk about dropping in the rankings. Grigor Dimitrov was falling off the face of the earth. And one of our next-gen matchups, this Matteo Berrettini guy, Italian, you might not have noticed him. He's 23. He's a little older for the next-gen, but he's still in that next-gen generation. Yeah, he's too young to be lost gen. So I guess he's probably the same age as Kyrgios or pretty close. And Berrettini's been climbing up the rankings very steadily. He's 33 in the world now. He's very good on clay. He's in Rome. He's Italian. Sasha Zverev, who, he looked better in Madrid. He's at least trending in the right way, but that had to have hurt the way he lost to Tsitsipas. It was a good match, don't get me wrong, but man, Tsitsipas really showed who's boss in that match, it felt like. Sasha Zverev having to play this Berrettini guy first up, and that match is tomorrow too. I'm pretty sure, not Wednesday. All the big names are playing Wednesday, but I think Kyrgios and Sasha Zverev are the biggest names we'll see in action tomorrow, so watch out for that match. Upset alert. I hope Sasha's got it together, but hey, it's a great story to see a young Italian guy win at the Internazionale Biennale d'Italia, which used to be called simply the Italian Open. For a long time. Italian Open's been around for a while. There's been tennis in Italy for a long time. I've been reading the Bud Collins History of Tennis book, and I want to say I was reading about a tournament in Milan that started in like 1915, so like over 100 years of tennis in Italy. It's a beautiful sport. Schwartz-D, Diego Schwartzman will play Yoshihito Nishioka, and winner of that will get Ramos Vinolas, who beat Gael Monfils, who I guess is not feeling his best again. Who would have guessed it? Roger really ground him down. Marin Cilic will play another Italian wild card, Basso, and winner of that will take Grigor Dimitrov or Jan-Lennard Struff. And to wrap up this top half of the draw, Nishikori, the hero of Japan, will play either Guido Pella from Argentina or Taylor Fritzy Boy Fritz, the U.S. next-gen player. I don't see Taylor Fritz winning. And again, Guido Pella has been playing a lot, winning a lot, probably getting a little tired, loses earlier than he has been in the last tournament, probably feeling more rested than he has in a while. Look for him to crunch Taylor Fritz, although Fritz has looked better and better on clay for a young Americans on clay. Guido Pella will probably get through there, and Nishikori, again, not a fun, super fun first round up for him. I could see Nishikori getting through. He is due to win some matches. Marin Cilic, who knows what's up with him? I hope he recovered from his virus well. If he didn't, food poisoning, it's got to affect the sleep and the body and the ability to digest new food. Look for Cilic maybe to struggle. Jan-Lennard Struff is probably going to crunch Grigor. Poor Grigor. I don't see Sasha Zverev making it through here. If Grigor can get it together and beat Struff, that would be a good win for him especially. I could see a Nishikori or a Guido Pella or maybe Dimitrov coming through here, maybe Jan-Lennard Struff. I don't see Sasha Zverev coming through here and getting to the Djoker semifinal. I think we could maybe see Del Potro get through now. It would be cool for him. Not sure, though. It's hard to bet on guys who are dealing with lots of injuries and taking a while to come back, but maybe he feels like he's ready now. I think Djokovic is going to crunch old Shapo, but hey, it's early. Shapo, if he just goes out there and lets it fly and actually makes the balls in pretty frequently, he cut down on his errors compared to what we've seen. He's on a 4-match losing streak until today. So it is possible there, but yeah, Djokovic is coming through here. I think Djokovic is going to the finals. And on the bottom half of the draw, another punk teenager, this Sinner kid. He's Italian, a wild card, Yannick Sinner. He was down like 5-2 in the third set to Stevie Johnson. He got 6-1 in the first set. Am I remembering this right? This was yesterday. I watched this match. He hits the ball very big for a 17-year-old. Look at his face. He looks like a straight-up baby. It was shocking the way he came back. I'm sure the home crowd helped him a bit. The way he came back and beat Stevie Johnson, who has been struggling, but still, 17-year-old, next gen, iGen. This is a guy from the I generation with Felix Auger, born after the year 2000. He will play Tsitsipas. And I don't want to say upset alert because, come on, is Tsitsipas going to lose to a 17-year-old? But this is kind of a pressure situation. The Italians are going to be pulling for him. Tsitsipas is coming off of a lot of matches, a big disappointment with Djokovic, a very emotional high with the win over Rafa. It feels like an upset alert, but I just can't see Tsitsipas losing to a 17-year-old next-gener. I mean, he's 20 himself. How often does Tsitsipas play someone younger than him, who's from the home country with the crowd behind him? It could be awkward. We'll see what happens. I expect Tsitsipas to win. If Tsitsipas is really struggling, if he's really feeling it physically, and it wouldn't be so bad with the French Open right around the corner. If Tsitsipas loses early here, gets the rest up for the French, it's not the end of the world. But Rome, don't forget, is the surface most like the French Open in the way it plays out of all the clay tournaments that lead up to the French Open. So it's not bad for Tsitsipas to win a few matches here and get a feel for what it's going to be like at the French. If Tsitsipas wants to be top 5, wants to blow right past Sasha Zverev and make Roger Federer feel like, geez, I don't want this freaking next-gen 20-year-old kid to take my spot in the top 3. So the Sinner will play Tsitsipas. That's Wednesday. Fabio Fognini looked really good. He might shake things up here, and he's in Italy. Radu Albat, Mr. Albato, and Benoit Paire will play tomorrow. Winner will take Fonini. Coric came through Felix Auger-Aliassime. I was going to do a big thing on the stats, put a couple of the stats on the screen. We're running out of time quick here. I got to get going. If you look at the stats, I'm not going to recite them because I don't have time to go through them, but I'll tell you what happened in the match. I watched the whole match because we are on Felix Auger-Aliassime watch all the time. Sure, Shapo's ahead of him. Shapo, almost just as exciting, but I just have a feeling FAA is going to do a little more damage by the time their careers are over than Shapo will. I don't know. It's a little early to say that. So I watched the whole match. I don't have time to go through the stats line by line with you, but I will tell you the gist of it. FAA played very well, down 4-2, 30 love on his serve in the first set, if I remember correctly. Comes all the way back, dominates Coric in the tiebreaker. One return, I think he's up 2-0. Coric is serving, and I don't remember exactly forehand backhand, but he blasts a serve from Coric to go up 3-0 and a double break in the tiebreaker. Then he goes for a serve and volley to go up 4-0, misses, ultimately doesn't get it, but I like it. I like it a lot. FAA looked very good to me overall. He falls down an early break. And if you look at the stats, I mean, you'll see it's clean. I think the first set it was 80 points, and they both won 40 each. And I think they both have more winners than errors. I thought the shot count stuff was interesting in the third set. Maybe you'll see it when I flash that up. I'm going to flash every page of stats for you, even though I'm not looking at them right now. You will notice in the second set and in the third set, although we don't have the third set, we show you the match averages of all three sets put together. Coric's serve got a lot better in the second set. He just made more first serves than FAA in general. FAA speeds first and second on average higher than Coric. Very impressed by how big FAA is hitting the serve at 18. Very impressed by everything. I thought Coric did a good job of making FAA hit tons of backhands, but his backhand looks really good. He almost won this match. He had chances to I don't think he saw another break chance after the first set on Coric's serve, but he would get close. He would take it to deuce. He would get up 30 love on returns, and he saved a ton of break points that Coric had on the FAA serve. Felix was able to, he just looked very good. He looked like a mature veteran of the tour, the way he defended his serve when he was down 15-40. He goes down a break on the very first game of the third set, and that's what really hurt him, because the rest of the third set, Felix looks fine to me. He looks at times to be playing better than Coric, other than the very first game, which happened to be, unfortunately, his serve. And the crazy thing is, he goes down 15-40 on his serve, but at 15-30, he almost hits a freak show winner. It reminds me of that winner, if you saw it, that he's running and he slaps, like it's kind of like a tweener, but on your side, on the side of your hip. Monfils hit that in Madrid, I think it was, jumping in the air, really crazy looking. FAA doesn't jump, but he hits a very similar shot and just barely misses the line. That would have made it 30-all. I think FAA holds serve there and wins the match if he lands that ball. I think it was a little bit of a distraction, though, because you go for a shot like that and you miss it, and the crowd gets all pumped up and you think you made it. It's kind of a letdown. But he still manages to save the first break point, and then he probably would have saved the next break point, but he double faults, going for a pretty big serve. So other than that, I thought FAA looked like I don't want to say better player, but it was very close. They were at least even in the third set after that first game. But of course, the first game was a break against Felix. And Felix, he was in return games where he could have broken back, didn't see a break point, and the final game didn't even come close. But the second to last service game for Coric, that was pretty nervy. That was really nervy. FAA, I believe, saved some match points in that game. All right, that's enough of a Felix watch. Coric comes through there. We'll play the Nori. Did I talk about Sasha Zverev playing a young man? Yeah, I already talked about our young guns meeting up. It's funny because they're the next-gen players with, only in Tsitsipas' case, with an even younger next-gener coming up. It feels like that with Berrettini, but he's 23. He's actually older for next-gen. It's just a guy we don't hear about a whole lot. You know, these guys that like clay more than the other surfaces, you don't hear about them as much because there's less clay throughout the tennis year. Of course, Federer will play TFO or Yao Souzapalooza next. Souza. I think it's Souza, actually. I like Federer's draw. I don't like him having to play Fonini or Tsitsipas, but will that even happen? I really don't like Federer having to play Coric because, remember, Borna Coric is like a poor man's Djokovic. So Federer doesn't always match up the best with Djokovic. But if Federer, and I'm not going to say it's impossible here, if Federer gets to the final, because Rafa and Dominic Thiem will play in their quarterfinal very likely, so that sucks for them. If Roger beats a tired down, worn down Thiem or Nadal in the semi, which is very possible. I mean, Roger came very close. I wish we had more time today so we could talk more about Roger and Thiem. I was very impressed with the Roger-Thiem match. Thiem did a great job adjusting. Roger still almost won. Very bitter, for Fed fans because he had two match points. Was it 3? He had at least 2 in the tiebreak. I think Federer can beat Dominic Thiem here, especially if it's the other way around. Instead of meeting Thiem in the quarters, it's like what Thiem had to do with Djokovic. Just like I said at the beginning of the show, Tsitsipas beating Nadal followed by Djoker. It's very unlikely in the history of our great sport with the big 3 ruling. No one ever does it. It's only happened a couple of times. So and it goes the same with the big 3. They do it to each other. They have to beat 2 of them. It happens, obviously, but it's hard for them too. So, and on clay, it feels like Dominic Thiem is a big clay member. So if Dominic Thiem beats Rafa, is what I'm trying to say, for him to beat Federer right back, he couldn't do Federer followed by Djokovic. I don't think he can necessarily beat Nadal unless he crushes Nadal and then beats Federer. So I like Federer getting through there. I think Borna Coric is a good warm-up for Roger because if he gets through there, he's definitely going to meet Djokovic. If Djokovic loses, that's going to change everything because Djokovic looks so good right now. It would really take some major dip in his form that could hurt his confidence going into the French Open for him not to come through his half. If Federer can beat Coric and feel really good about it, and then if he can get through either Rafa or Dominic Thiem, who you expect to see in that semi, then I think Federer can go into the final with the confidence that he could beat Djokovic. Will he beat Djokovic? Will we even get that match? We're assuming a lot, but it's fun to pretend. Let's get going and wrap this thing up. Comment below, do you think Roger Federer can still beat Djokovic on clay? Is it even a thing? We saw that he almost beat Thiem and couldn't quite get over the finish line. I know a lot of people, I feel it too, probably after watching that Thiem match, thinking, hey, Federer threw everything he had at him, did some great stuff in the first set and the second set, but ultimately on this surface, it's going to be really hard to beat the best guys, Rafa, Djoker, Dominic Thiem, in best of 5 at the French. It feels like a long shot for Roger to find a way to win the French Open. And no one expected him to do it. But comment below, can he beat Djokovic even in best of 3? Is it a thing when Djokovic is playing well? Is this surface just making it impossible? I will tell you one thing. Djokovic, there's still some weaknesses with the serve. You never know how good it's going to be these days. When it is great, he tends to win against anyone, any surface, pretty much. The forehand, there's some weakness there with Djokovic. The forehand can break down. I'm surprised Tsitsipas didn't target the forehand more. As of now, I say Federer will beat Djokovic at Wimbledon if they play. Finally, is this finally? Yeah, last thing for you guys today. I guess we could take a real quick look. And, I'll just do it at the end. When the music plays, you'll see the comments on the hideous French Open outfit. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, and I have to see Federer wearing it before I can even say. When I just see a picture of a shirt with no one in it, not even a mannequin, it's very hard for me to visualize what that's going to look like. I'm not a very visual person. I'm more of a feel and hearing kind of guy. I mean, I can see the tennis ball coming at me, but colors, flowers, trees, stuff like that. I see the lines, the ball. Rafa shares why 19-year-olds do not win majors. It is no longer enough to play very well. You need to be able to give an answer at all times, everywhere. You cannot hide. This has something to do with the maturity, and that is something you only acquire over the years. I think Rafa's got a great point. There are so many good players on tour. There's more money than there's ever been to win. Athletes have taken their sport more seriously than ever before, at least in greater numbers. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Bjorn Borg worked really hard, right? I'm sure Pete Sampras trained as hard as anybody. Agassi, we know he didn't at times, but we know he did when he had to come back, and it mattered most. Today, it seems like there's a lot of guys just top 50, never get to top 10, working harder, just as hard as the very best players would have worked before, and they should be. There's more opportunity in the sport, so it's not going to be as easy for someone who just has a lot of talent to win the biggest matches against the best players and somehow get a major, right? Because you got to put in the work. And if you're a teenager, it's pretty hard to be as physically mature, like strong, big, fast as those other guys. I mean, it's impossible. That's why it's so exciting to see this new babyface kid, the center, and the Felix Auger-Aliassime. They're so big and strong already. Makes you wonder, like, how hard are they going to freaking hit the ball when they're 24? I mean, look at Sasha Zverev. He came in with a lot of talent, had some big results. Now you see him really strong, really able to crush the ball and last in matches. And, he struggles, but we've seen some very great things he's done as he's gotten stronger over the years. Think of the Masters and the World Tour Finals win. I think now, Sasha Zverev get a little bit of a mental struggle going on right now. Nadal added, he thinks the game should change in order to keep attracting people. You had some long rallies in the past too. The points developed more slowly. The difference is, though, that today people hit the ball with much more strength. Almost every player capable of playing a winning stroke from any position. This means the balls arrive more quickly. If you want to reach them, you have to slow down from high speed or suddenly change direction. These are moments when you can injure yourself, and that is what the wears us out. They don't like the tennis to be a game of only the serve or only the brute force. When all of you see the court, it's the bam, 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 bam. Tennis is beautiful when you can see the tactics, when the players don't react but are able to act and to think. The ball bounces up so high off the ground, means you can hit them down with a downward motion, makes them fast. The balls ought to remain lower down. It is the question of the material. I'm not sure what the hell he's saying there. All right, hit the music. We're going to get out of here. Is Rafa complaining about high bouncing surfaces? He wants to change that? I always thought that favored him. Hey, you guys want to make the courts super low? I think Roger Federer wouldn't mind that. Give you a lot of slices, that's for sure. But please, this argument about slowing down everything, they've already done it. Don't need to do it anymore. I think the fans will enjoy seeing a great variety on the tour. That is ultimately what will make tennis great. Keep the different surfaces and the different locations being, hey, this is a fast hard court. This is a slow hard court. This is a medium hard court. This is very slow clay. And maybe, throw in a couple lightning fast indoor courts too. Well, that'd be good. We'll be back on Wednesday after all the big boys play. Maybe we'll do something tomorrow. Worst case scenario, though, you will definitely see us as late as sometime Thursday morning. See ya!